Hey, what's going on YouTube? Marine X back at it again. This is my workstation, my work desk, where I edit, I do work for my normal job, browse the internet, all that good stuff. But there are critical things that happen at this desk that I can't lose power. And because of Ecoflow, I have the ultimate emergency power supply. So this is the Ecoflow River 2, and I've already done a video on the Ecoflow River 2 Pro. This one once again comes through, hitting it out the park for capabilities. I want to talk to you guys about if you have an up or an uninterruptible power supply at your desk traditionally, why you might want to think about getting something like this, how I've been using this, why this is a part of my prep kit, and all of that good stuff. So first off, let's just start off with the bottom line up front. Do I recommend this? I'm going to talk about this in the perspective of Uncle X and Marine X. So first off, for the perspective of Marine X, this is an item that can be used for prepping. It can be used for camping. It can be used for going to the park, going to an all-day outing. If you're going to be sitting outside all day, you want to keep devices charged, and you want to find something that's reasonably priced. There's a lot of competitors, but because of the features this offers and the service that's backed up behind it, from the perspective of Marine X, absolutely, especially if you can get it at a good price, I recommend this. I've tried their competitors. I own their competitors. I don't use some of their competitors because of some of the features that this has. And because of the current spring sale that they have going on, you can get this thing below $200. Check the links in the description for the best pricing. Now, that's the very practical, reasoned response as Marine X. Now, can I recommend this item as Uncle X? The answer is hell yeah. Listen, if you have little whippersnappers that are always using your devices, they get bored on long road trips, you want to keep an electric blanket going all night while you're camping, you want all sorts of ways to use this for prep, just anything that you can think of. This Ecoflow River 2 is something that I think is a critical item, a part of my prep. Now, I have its big brother, the Ecoflow River 2 Pro. That thing is fantastic. A big old beastly type of item, but the small little companion here is, in my opinion, just as great. Now, for disclosure, Ecoflow sent this to me for the purposes of making this video. However, they didn't pay me. They didn't get to see this video before I published it. Matter of fact, they're seeing it with you guys for the very first time. So my opinions are my own. And I have no issues whatsoever disappointing folks. It just so happens to be, for me personally, this thing slaps. Now, we're gonna talk about some very boring stuff for this thing, but before we do any of that, my entire desk is plugged up into this thing right now. So I guess I can just explain my favorite part of it is it's an emergency power supply. So this is plugged into the wall, and my desk is all running into one outlet. Currently, this thing is getting 56 watts it's drawing 56 watts in from the wall. It's outputting 55 watts to power everything you see here, monitors, a couple of lights, all that type of stuff. So let's just unplug it from the wall and see what happens. Just like that, 30 milliseconds, this thing recognizes that it was unplugged from shore power. Now it says it's getting 0 from the wall and is still outputting to my desk. What does that mean? That means in scenarios where if you are using a CPAP machine, if you're using something that cannot lose power, this is something that I've relied on for those type of scenarios. I'm gonna leave this unplugged for the rest of the video just to show the capabilities of this thing overall. I love the fact that you can use this and it's very, very lightweight. It weighs 7 pounds. It has a completely flat surface, meaning you can set stuff on the top that will roll off normally. It doesn't roll off this thing. It stays exactly where you want it. They include this AC charger, obviously. They also include a DC plug so you can plug it up and charge it in your vehicle. This thing fast charges in 1 hour. Hands down, 1 hour it charges with no issues. These are using the long life batteries. The new technology, you know, we've kind of gone from alkaline to lithium. Now we're on LiFePO4 batteries. Listen, the easiest thing to explain this is you can charge this thing 3,000 times before it gets down to 80% capacity. That means that you could use this thing regular use like I'm doing for over a decade before it even gets down to 80%. That's the type of stuff I like to see, especially for something with currently pricing getting it below $200. I think is a straight up banger of a price. Now, it does have a 300 watt output plug here. You also have, for both of these plugs here, for the AC output, you can get up to 300 watts. Now, it's a 256 watt hour. It can peak up to 600 watts. So if I plug this up and I were to plug a USB-C plug up in here and a couple USB-A's and I was use the DC output, it can bring itself up to 600 watts. What does that mean? If you have an item, let's just say, for instance, you plug up a refrigerator, a portable refrigerator in the back of your vehicle. That thing, when you first plug it up, it revs up to 500 watts. This thing can handle that for a couple of seconds, probably up to a minute, and then it brings it back to the normal working level. There are some of their competitors where you have a refrigerator, you're like, oh, the refrigerator's 250 watts. Perfect, I'll plug it up in here and it'll be fine. Well, you didn't know that that fridge actually revs up to 500 watts, 580 watts before it brings itself down. Some of the competitors can't handle stuff like that. That's incredibly important. My favorite thing about this one specifically, hands down, I'm gonna mention again, is how lightweight it is. I have no issues whatsoever literally unplugging my desk, plugging my desk into the wall, and then taking this with me. So if we're gonna be going somewhere for a long time, my River 2 Pro, which is the big boy, I leave that plugged up with the coffee mess. I use that if we're gonna be going for an extended, like all the weekend type stuff. But this one right here can give me all day usage easily, no problems whatsoever. Now, there are some things I don't like about it. The fan, when the fan kicks on, it can get kind of loud. By loud, I mean, if it's a super quiet environment, you're going to hear this fan. Has that been an issue? It's not like I'm using this in a pew in a church or something like that. But if you're going to be using this in a critical environment where you can't make tons of noise, the fan will kick on. That's something that you need to think about. So that's one thing that you want to think about as well. Now, I've also had a few issues with the app, and that's something I want to mention as well. The app with this, I would say that 80% of the time, it works 100% of the time. What I mean by that is talking to the device with my phone, meaning, the Bluetooth connectivity from my phone to the actual device works flawlessly. But this device also is able to connect to Wi-Fi, meaning when I leave the house, if I want to just know if this thing is running or if I've lost power or whatever, I should be able to talk to the device. This specific one sometimes loses connectivity. I've noticed that this runs on a 2.4 gigahertz instead of the 5.0 gigahertz for Wi-Fi, if I'm mispronouncing that, pound sand, meaning that it doesn't use a stronger band. My River 2 Pro never loses Wi-Fi connection, but that's closer to my router. So this might be just placement in my garage where I may be having an issue, but I just wanted to identify that. If this is going to be very far away from your Wi-Fi, that's something you want to consider. However, you don't need the Wi-Fi to use this. The Wi-Fi is a convenience thing. I never pull up the Ecoflow app when I'm away from the house to see if this thing is running. I normally would use the Bluetooth functionality. The Bluetooth functionality gives you all sorts of stuff that you can't even imagine that you would want to know. What's the output? What's being drawn specifically from different items overall? So when you look at these things, you can clearly see here. So it shows here both devices are plugged up currently, and the River 2 Pro's on the top, the River 2's on the bottom. It shows the percentage of each. So my River 2 Pro's at 98% and the River 2 is at 95%. Basically, this thing will cycle itself through as you're using it. So if it's plugged up into shore power, you can actually, and the screen just went to sleep, which is another feature I like. It does automatically put that screen to sleep. But you can see okay, this thing's plugged into the wall. I have it plugged into items. Is it just draining from the batteries? No, you can actually see in the app what's going on. If you have an issue with anything with the items as well, you can talk directly with Ecoflow, send Ecoflow the serial numbers, diagnostics, all that type of stuff. Speaking of the service with Ecoflow, This comes with a 5-year warranty, a 5-year service guarantee. Unlike their competitors, these devices, these big old portable power stations, they pay for shipping to get back to them and to send the device back to you. And this only weighs 7 pounds. May not be a big headache, but its big brother weighs more. Ecoflow has the River series and the Delta series. I own a Delta series item as well. I would not imagine wanting to send something that weighs 40, 50, 60 pounds back to Ecoflow for them to do the warranty. So the fact that they take care of that, I think is top notch. Now, there are competitors that that are on the market. There's tons of them, and you're gonna see some of the pricing. You may see some of the deals. You may see tons of reviews, and it might make sense to you. I've tried out tons of them. Shout out to Denna Tools, because the ones I physically weren't able to try out, I was able to look at his channel. I'll link him up down below to get more advice on what will actually work out for me. And if you're not looking at some of the top 3, top 4s, you know, if you're looking at the Anchors of the world, those are pretty reliable. If you're looking at the Ecoflows, those are pretty reliable. There are other ones that have fallen off very heavily, in my opinion. Jackery will never get my money ever again, because they're just not innovating and they're not offering these type of features that Ecoflow is offering overall. Another thing I really like about this is I bought a third-party solar panel for this. This fast charges with the solar panel. On the very back of the device, it's very simple. It does have one input for a solar panel. If you get the bigger versions, sometimes you can get the 2 inputs like the Deltas and all that type of stuff. With the River series, you get 1 input. You can see the fan here. You can see the AC input, all that good stuff. Your serial number information as well. You see how light it is. It includes a grab handle, so you can just grab this thing up very, very easily. But I have a 120-watt solar panel. This thing charges up extremely quickly with this thing in about 2.5 hours, a little bit less than that. That may seem like a long time, but how long is the sun out every day? In this, you know, solar panels work with UV rays. It doesn't have to have direct sunlight. It works better with direct sunlight, meaning that even at a campsite, even when you're far away, you can keep this thing plugged up to a solar panel, and it almost works as well as it's being plugged up to your house. Not saying flawlessly, but it's, for me personally, in my experiences, I'm pretty much there. So this is a device that I'm a big fan of. And the things that I wish were a little bit different, I don't know why they did this specifically with the River 2. The River 2 Pro has full-size ACs for all of them. So this AC outlet has the 2 prongs here, and then it has a 3-prong with the ground wire, which I have plugged up right now. I don't know why they couldn't do the 3-prong. I guess they don't want you putting more than 300 watts here. So I guess if you use this one here, but if you have smaller devices that you can plug up there, so I've used it for things such as charging my son's 12-volt, you know, AC car that they drive around every now and again. We're at campsites, charging an electric blanket all night long, that type of stuff. You can use that smaller port for that. Charging cell phones. Of course, you do have the 1 USB-C port and 2 USB-A ports that you can use. It does have a button that lets you turn on the DC output, or the cigarette port output, as we used to say back in the day. That also allows you to charge this device. If you want to charge this using your car battery, that's fine. This is a better inverter type system than using anything else that I can think of. Since I've gotten the Ecoflow series, I have stopped using my uninterruptible power supplies for a couple of reasons. One, the one that I was using was over $100, and I couldn't take it anywhere. It had to stay plugged up at my desk, which for me gave me peace of mind, but it wasn't as useful. Two, when it unplugs, it makes this annoying beeping noise trying to get your attention, like, hey, save your work, because my UPS only gave me 18 to 30 minutes of power to keep my desk running so I could save my work. For me, that's not really the peace of mind that I need for that type of stuff. Now, right now, I'm running my desk via a laptop. So in theory, a laptop, you know, as long as the laptop has power, I can save my work. But I also have a Mac Studio. I have a PC. Those don't have their own batteries inside. Those need power so I can save my work. That's super important to me. You know, I have my grandfather, when he comes in town, he uses a CPAP machine. This plugs up in the nightstand in the guest room. He plugs his CPAP in here. I plug this in the wall. We have no issues, no worries about this thing going out. So I guess I can keep this very, very simple. If you want lightweight, portable, an emergency power supply, great app functionality, except my issues with the Wi-Fi, which may just be a me issue, but I wanted to point that out as well, and be able to basically kind of power all your essentials. The Ecoflow River line is something I can recommend highly, whether it's Marine X or Uncle X. The Delta series we'll talk about in the future, because that's what we're talking about, powering your entire homes. But for powering your personal devices, day trips, you can't go with anything else. Check the links in the descriptions, because right now this thing is well below $200. In my opinion, that's a steal of a deal. And just for best pricing overall, even if you're not watching this as close to the release date, you can still get best pricing by checking that link out. Let me know, do you already have a portable power station? Is this a part of your prepping kit or your emergency kits? Is that something that you've even thought about? If you haven't thought about it, why not? Where are we at right now? So I've been running my mouth for a few minutes and we're at 91%. That's not bad, especially for the fact that my computer this entire system is running a Apple Studio display, which is a big behemoth of a monitor, 2 light bars behind it, which are throwing off green light, as well as this smaller OLED monitor, keyboards, my lamp here, which just turned off. I can turn that back on, all sorts of stuff. So everything's running through this right now, and I'm very, very happy with this. So would I buy this with my own money? Yes, I would. Did I buy this with my own money? No, I didn't. But am I going to be getting one for a loved one with this sale? Yes, I will. Comment down below, is this something that you would get? If this is your first time stopping by, hit the subscribe button. I would love to have you a part of the battalion. If this is not your first time stopping by, well, thank you once again for watching me run my grape. For everyone else, we'll speak soon.